It's really a great honor to be here with you today, and I thank you for having us. Jewish Voice for Peace is one of the largest and oldest grassroots Jewish organizations in the United States that is working for a just peace between Israelis and Palestinians. We have some 10,000 members and supporters all over the world. We also have a board of advisors that includes high-profile American Jews like playwright Tony Kushner and poet Adrian Rich, as well as Israeli peace activists. JVP was one of the first Jewish groups in the United States and in the world to publicly support the Presbyterian Church's decision to investigate selective divestment from the Israeli occupation. The decision on selective divestment is an incredibly brave one. It's a strong statement that Americans will no longer continue to fund the humiliation and the brutality that Palestinians suffer every day. I thank you for making that decision, especially given how painful the reaction has been from the organized Jewish community. The evidence of that is in this room with us today, with the glaring absence of our three co-panelists. Your decision to investigate selective divestment is evidence of your clear commitment to the Jewish people and doing right by us. The silent majority of Jews in the United States many Jews in the United States feel completely alienated from mainline Jewish groups and feel that those groups are not the mainstream of our community any longer. Most Jews in the U.S. are not affiliated with institutions that purport to represent us. Never in American history have so many Jewish groups sprung out outside of the mainstream of the Jewish community in defiance of the flawed leadership that we're experiencing. By making a decision to investigate selective divestment from Israel's occupation, you have made it clear that you recognize the core of what being Jewish is all about: respect for human life and dignity. I want to thank you for being brave to stand strongly as allies to the Jewish people. It is so difficult to be allies to Jews when Jews are accusing you of betraying them. But at the core of being an ally to us is understanding why some of us are reacting with great anger, but then also refusing to be deterred by that anger. Actually, Jews are stuck in the middle of a cycle. Because of how we've been oppressed, we've become the oppressors. As Dirk mentioned, I'm an Israeli-American Jew and the grandchild of 4 Holocaust survivors. All 4 of my grandparents were forced to leave their homes and everything that they knew because they were being hunted down by the Nazis. When my grandparents fled their homes, they left behind their entire extended family, most of whom were killed. My great-grandmother lost all 9 of her sisters and brothers. In October of last year, I traveled to Poland to learn about how they lived and died. I went to learn about what their murder means for people like me, the children and the grandchildren of Holocaust survivors. In Poland, I stood on the soil that my family lived on for generations. It's the same soil that is now stained with their blood and ashes. I walked into the crematoria and gas chambers at Auschwitz, where I think my family was murdered. Since October, I have had nightmares nearly every night. When I close my eyes to sleep, I see a pile of burning human corpses in front of me. I have a recurring nightmare that I'm standing alone in front of a pile of corpses. I can't turn and run, and I can't scream, and I'm horribly alone, knowing that my family is somewhere inside the pile. But in reality, today, the crematoria are in rubble. The Holocaust is over. Outside of Israel, most Jews are as secure as most other human beings. However, the subjective experience of millennia of persecution and genocide is quite another thing, and it informs our experience. Since my visit to Auschwitz last October, the constant fear that I and many other Jews live with has come to the surface of my consciousness. In some ways, my nightmares are a new phenomenon. But in reality, Auschwitz and the legacy of persecution and targeting that my family faced was always in the house as I grew up. No one talks about it, but you could feel it. A constant level of tension and anxiety. You would wake up in the morning with a stiff neck and sore muscles, and you would have no idea what you spent the night running from. I know that this is a common experience for Jews. One of my Jewish friends wonders which of her neighbors will hide her children just in case there's an anti-Semitic outbreak. Since most of us have yet to heal from the trauma that we've experienced and that has been passed on to us, most Jews do not feel safe. Many Jews feel homeless, no matter their level of material stability. We are prone to feeling and even acting as if the gas chambers in Auschwitz are still functioning, even though we know that they're not, even though we know that we're safe. We're scared inside and we're ready to fight for our survival. And anyone who had our experience would feel that way. Today in Israel-Palestine, terrified nuclear-armed Jews rule over 3.5 million Palestinians who live without any kind of representation in the government that controls the most mundane details of their daily lives. Both people suffer, but who is the oppressed and who is the oppressor? For every Israeli Jew killed in a suicide bombing, 4 Palestinians are killed by an Israeli tank, helicopter, or bulldozer. Every day, Palestinians encounter scared Israeli soldiers at checkpoints that choke Palestinian roads. Palestinians live in fear that their homes will be destroyed at any moment, even though human rights groups in Israel say that 95% of home demolitions have nothing to do with security. Why am I here? I'm here because Jews need help from you. You're our allies. Yes, we need you to understand how the oppression of Jews has led to oppression by Jews. We need you to cleave to us, but we need you to help us stop what we're doing in Palestine. Help us stop destroying Palestinian homes, subjecting Palestinians to random, terrifying brutality, suppressing the liberty of another people. The Presbyterian Church's decision to investigate selective divestment from companies profiting from the occupation is an incredibly important step in helping us to break the cycle of victim and oppressor. The country of my birth is killing itself from the inside, and Americans, mostly, are profiting from it. I've heard people say that divestment from Israel's occupation will likely hurt Israel's economy. There's actually little evidence for that. 75% of the military aid that Israel receives is actually spent buying military equipment from American companies. So selective divestment from the occupation wouldn't primarily affect Israeli companies, but American ones. And many of those companies lobby our government for support of a warlike policy towards Israel and Palestine. At this moment, the Israeli economy is so heavily militarized that other industries, let alone programs that support human needs, are neglected. Selectively divesting from the occupation means investing in brighter futures for both Israelis and Palestinians. I'm not asking you to selectively divest from the occupation because it's the right thing to do, but because we Jews need you to stand with us as allies. Cleave to us, but that means you have to expect things of us also. Don't let us get away with anything less than everything that we're capable of. We know that you feel bad about what has happened to us as Jews. Sometimes that feeling bad has made our allies very timid. It comes across like, we didn't keep the Jews of Europe alive, so we'll just keep quiet while they oppress and humiliate the Palestinian people. We need you to stop feeling that bad. We need you at our side as partners in our liberation. And we won't be truly liberated until we stop oppressing and humiliating the Palestinian people. We need you to understand the history that we've endured, but we also need you to persist in seeing the best in us and consistently expecting and demanding that of us. There's a verse in Matthew chapter 5 that I love. It's verse 14. You are the light of the world. A city built on a hill cannot be hid. No one, after lighting a lamp, puts it under the bushel basket, but on a lampstand, and it gives light to all in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father in heaven. The General Assembly made an incredibly brave and powerful and right decision by choosing to investigate selective divestment from the Israeli occupation. And the Presbyterian Church has been attacked since that decision was made. Cleaving to your Jewish brothers and sisters will not be comfortable now. It will not be easy. But don't let go of us, and don't let go of everything that we're capable of. The time is now. Set the lamp on the stand. Stick to the decision that the General Assembly made to investigate selective divestment.